especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer senior system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda. Welcome to Ground Zero Season 2, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health, finance, sports, and so much more. Ground Zero Season 2.
Yes, indeed, it is UBC Radio, and we're here to inspire you, the people of Uganda. We are on 5 radio stations that cover this program live. That is UBC Butebo in eastern Uganda. That is UBC Radio in Western Nile in the heart of Arua City. And you can get us on these frequencies. In case you're in Kampala, we are on 98.0 FM, Arua 97.4 FM, Lila 99.4 FM. We are live also on that is Butebo Radio, as I already mentioned. Mbale, you can get us on 96.9 FM, Soroti 98.4 FM. We are also live and clear on Magic 100 FM, that is covering all central parts of this country, and also we are live on UBC Radio, and that covers all parts of this country, if I may say, 98.0 FM. And we're also live and clear on another radio station covering parts of western and southern parts of this country, that is Voice of Butebo. Ampaire, Amon Buteega is my name. It is a very big privilege for me to join you this very morning until we are going to get out of here in 2 hours time. And I am glad that I've been joined by a very special team of guests that are going to be helping to educate, to empower, to also inform us on a number of issues that affect our country. We're going to be talking about something to do with the law, and when we talk about the law, we know that we are talking about things that shape our politics, shape our national development. And today we are going to dive into a timely and thought-provoking discussion, and we're looking at defining legal leadership in the contemporary world. Very tight and serious topic there, but I'm glad that the topic I have, and have the team here that will break it down for you to really digest it and able to understand every time they're in a society where justice, accountability, governance are constantly being tested. The question we must ask ourselves is what truly makes a legal leader today. I was telling my friend last time that if AI can now make contracts and the others, what is the lawyer going to do as a leader? These are things that we're going to dive into, and we get to know how the things are shaping constitutionalism, rule of law, but also we're going to see how technology is making things change, especially when we talk about law, when we talk about legal leadership in this world. And I'm glad that I have Counsel Samuel Oyote is coming from Oyote Company Advocates. It is a warm welcome, sir, and thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thanks so much, Amon. I'm very, very glad to be here. Good morning, our listeners. Amon, I had you introduce the fact that you have UBC live in Arua West Nile. I'm glad to hear from my people there. Azimichi,
you can as well greet them in the language they understand most.
Oh, sure. Azimichi, or the former Aiko Samboru, Manitezu, Bambori be dia radio UBC ga Rarisi. Thank you for tuning in. Let's keep it here.
Interesting. Western Nile is live in the heart of Arua City there.
Yes, sure,
Obongi, Omoyo, Jumani, Maracha, and all the neighboring districts where they are alive. And yes, I understand that they understand the language that you just used. And thank you for making time to come through council.
Thank you.
Interesting. We also have a privilege to have Al O'Brien. He's also a lawyer. They love to be called counsel. So counsel, my apologies, and you're most welcome, sir.
Comrade Amon, allow me stand on what my comrade has already started by saying that he had his home district being talked about. I'm equally from Ntungamo. So if it does no harm, allow me...
Can equally say hello to them.
Abanyantungamo murire muta, muraho, muri kurungi, for the different dialects. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brian Aruho. I'm a lawyer by profession and equally the chairperson of the Aruho Foundation. Thank you.
Interesting. You have heard the team that I have in the studios of UBC very late, and they tend to call themselves the Land Friends. So I have the Land Friends in our studio this morning, and we're going to be learning indeed a lot from them. And tonight we bring together that distinguished panel, lawyers, advocates of court, and political party leaders. We expect to be joined by Ojobili Augustine, who comes from FDC, and also Counsel Tumwine Enoch, who comes from Vansia Advocates. We want to understand how the laws, how the legal systems, how the legal leadership have been changing, and they tend to be dynamic, and I want to understand how this shapes our lives, how this shapes our communities and our systems in this contemporary world. Yesterday we had International Labor Day, and I want to congratulate all the workers in Uganda, East Africa and Africa, and the global all the global citizens who are also workers, and I want to welcome you all from that very, very successful event that we had yesterday. UBC were able to broadcast all the events live on all our platforms, radio and TV, and I'm glad that you are inspired, because that is our number one mission, to make sure that the people of Uganda are informed, but most importantly are inspired. Let me start with you, Counsel Ayote, defining the legal leadership, especially when it comes to the contemporary world. But also, before you start, gentlemen, how I wish you give us background on where you come from in terms of your companies. I heard you mention about the foundation. Maybe we would love to know how that foundation is working. Maybe tomorrow someone who is listening us from the other side of radio will be able to walk through and be served by your respective companies or organizations. Ayote, then Alho later.
I want to thank you so dearly. My name is Samuel Ayotre. I am an advocate of the High Court. I am the proprietor of Ayotre and Company Advocates. We are a law firm that practice, and we are situated here in Kampala on Makerere Hill Road. We practice in vast fields of the law, including family law, criminal law, land law, corporate and commercial practice. I also happen to be a member and a supporter of the Patriotic League of Uganda. That's on the political, on the political platform. I am an ardent supporter of the organization, and I've been in the same since before its inception, actually, when we had the various splinter groups of support bases of our good CDF General Mhozi Kainerugaba, right from the time when we had the Avengers, we had the Revolutionary Guards, we had the Agojis, and the various groups that supported and loved General MK. Back then, we were in those different splinter groups, until at a time when the president advised and the chairman guided us that we should consolidate these various splinter groups to form one organization, such that we have a well-aligned growth, and we formed the MK movement, which was a conglomeration of these various splinter groups that supported General Mhozi Kainerugaba, until about 2 years ago, on the 2nd, I think, of February, 2 years ago, when the leadership of the current PLU, decided to formally promote and form a civic organization now called the Patriotic League of Uganda, which is a patriotic organization, non-partisan, non-sectarian, all patriotism and promoting love for country, accountability, and advocating for socio-economic transformation. So I'm a member of this PLU, and I'm a mobilizer for it, particularly in my area of Nansana municipality and the areas of Akiso. I am very happy to be here, and to sit in this discussion along with my learned brother who will introduce himself.
Okay, we'll come to Council Brian later. Yotre, if we are to look in today's world, what does the legal leadership actually mean beyond just knowing the law?
My understanding of legal leadership, in your introductory remarks, Mr. Amon, you made mention on the fact that we have the intrusion now of technology and particularly the AI. Now, in that context, my understanding of legal leadership firstly is that we now have legal information readily available to anyone with a smartphone, a computer, or any internet-powered gadget to access legal information. And in that sense, the understanding of laws and legal frameworks, regulatory frameworks, has been made readily available. However, in that environment, that ecosystem of the diffusion of legal knowledge freely available, we have the lawyers at the lead. So in that sense, the legal fraternity becomes a leader in the field of the law to provide leadership in a better understanding of the law, provide leadership in the actual procedures and processes of the practice of the law, in how to go about helping someone attain justice. So the trends, like you say, have kept changing over time with the intrusion of technology and AI, but the lawyer remains playing a main field in giving lead in the understanding of the law and the practice of it. However, in another vein, if we talked about legal leadership in the sense of how the regulatory framework in Uganda has provided leadership for the law, we have, in that case, we'll be talking about the structuring of the current judiciary as it is, where we have a Chief Justice, we have the Deputy Chief Justice, we have the Principal Judge, and we have all the other governance frameworks within the judiciary, extending even into lawyers in private practice who are highly regulated by the Uganda Law Society, with the leadership and the council there, and lawyers that practice in the civil society lawyers that practice in government parastatals. All these have, in a sense, a level of leadership that govern their practice, that govern their field, that govern the practice of their trade and of their profession. So in the case of our Ugandan judiciary here, we have had a fairly well-organized judiciary. I know that I know that we have currently a clash between some of these aspects of leadership. For example, at the Secretariat of Uganda now we have a sort of a friction of some kind between the leadership of the private practitioners at the Uganda Society and their council, and the leadership at the bench in Uganda. But you know, this kind of friction is healthy because it encourages accountability, as long as we keep the criticism and the critiquing professional. We use such language that is palatable, that is entertainable, language that enables the proper reception of positive criticism. We should be good to go. So we are well organized as the persons that have taken lead in the practice of the law, and the persons that have taken lead in the administration of justice. And we have a very good ambient environment for the practice of the law. Yes, please.
Thank you so very much, Council Yotre. I come to you, Council Brian, understanding how this shapes the legal systems, but also we look at how lawyers today are doing enough to defend justice. But also there is a narrative that you are becoming too commercial, and I don't know where this leaves the profession. I'm glad that we've been joined by our own Ojabili Augustine in full combat. Will be joining us later. Brian?
Yes. So Allow me begin from where Councillor Samuel stopped. One, the narrative, Comrade Aaron, that we've become too commercial. I think it's a double-edged sword, really. Yeah, because no one goes in business from my end with the angle of staying static where they are, but that's not really. I think heart of the matter. I think what is heart of the matter is, at the end of the day, when someone gets a lawyer, when someone gets an advocate, when someone is seeking justice, I think to us at the end of the day is, have you gotten that justice? Yeah.
Okay, how do you define the legal leadership or systems in this contemporary world? What are your observations? How do you review with what is taking place today? I want to believe that a lot has changed, especially in your systems, in your field, in your profession. What are your observations?
Okay, so legal leadership today, as my senior had already said, is not entirely about who knows the law best. It's more or less about who uses the law best, one, to defend justice, secondly, to protect rights, and then to shape the future of society. My comrade had already talked about the aspect of AI coming into play because we are in a fast-growing modern generation. But at the heart of all that, I think to take you back is that all lawyers in Uganda and every sort of legal leadership, first of all, must begin with the supreme law, which in Uganda is the constitution. So to us, that is the constitution of the Republic of Uganda. So for all lawyers in this country, that is the main spirit that we follow. So with that, but mainly two articles. One is Article 2, which clearly establishes constitutional supremacy. And then the next is Article 126, which mandates that justice shall be administered in the name of the people and in conformity with the law and values of society. So that means that legal leaders are not servants of power. They are servants of the constitution. So where we are headed, I think AI has come in. We need to first adapt to that. So basically, legal leadership is basically that, provided you follow the set establishments, that is with regards to the constitution, then these are the nitty-gritties such as up to date.
And now I welcome you.
Up to date.
You might invite the security apparatus to come.
As scary and powerful as it was those days, especially for FDC.
It is.
Sure?
It is because when you say you're wearing full combat,
Yes.
the moment it is a combat,
Yes.
they will say now this one is taking over government stores, and it's the crime these days.
But I said the full combat of the party.
So the full combat I'm wearing is actually the good sky blue T-shirt of the FDC, and you know very well how beautiful it can look, especially when it is clean. Yeah, but I should add that because we have other people who just put on for a whole month you're in one shirt and T-shirt, so it will never look good. So Amon, thank you, and good morning to all Ugandans listening. My name is, as Amon has mentioned, my name is Ojobile Augustine. I serve as Secretary of the Forum for Democratic Change Electoral Commission. You know, I'm also a local coach of a football team in Kasubi, here in Kampala. I'm a local coach of a team here in Kampala, that is Challenger FC. And I'm glad also as FDC, tomorrow we are going to participate in the press, is it called the Press Freedom Tournament?
Press Freedom here at UBC,
yes.
and we're glad that we are going to be hosting
So there will be a
Freedom Day,
yes, so,
which is tomorrow 3rd.
So for us, we are joining the media fraternity tomorrow, and we shall be playing the gala together with the media persons. So we registered our team. So tomorrow, whoever has been looking for Ojobile Augustine, whether he knows how to play football, please.
Whether he knows how to put on
Whether So you come tomorrow at Chitante. You come at Chitante. We shall be there. Chitante Hill Primary School. Is it Chitante Primary School? I keep confusing the two, but it's Chitante, near the museum. So we shall be there the whole day. The lowest number of games I will play are 4. So just be assured that we shall be entertained. So coming back to this issue, I may not be wearing.
You're going to actively participate as in playing, or
as
you're
a
going
player,
to be coaching?
As a player this time.
As a player, I have to attend.
He's going to actively participate by giving the ululation.
No, not just ululation. I must. Okay, when I'm out, I will ululate. When I'm in, I will play and make sure that I make my team win.
Score.
I'm a scorer. I'm number 10. Okay, Amon, colleagues listening to us, I want to appreciate our legal minds in this house. It is not easy practicing the law in such an environment. As Ojobile, I may not even be wearing a wig in court. But I work with the law every day, from electoral rules, football contracts. I see how legal leadership actually affects ordinary people. Today, I am basically here to speak about the 80% of the Ugandans who need justice outside the courtroom. So I am very glad to be part of this platform.
All right. Do you believe that political leaders in Uganda today respect the legal institutions? Is there anything that has changed that you think it is strange? But also, how is this going to shape our national politics? I'm glad that you said that you're a political, so those who are in the opposition, all the other political parties, how do you see our systems in Uganda, especially in this world, but also not just Uganda, in East Africa, and the globe at large?
Amon, you will be impressed to hear that Uganda has very good laws. It has one of the best documents that can be used against either criminality. Criminality is like corruption, injustices. But the biggest question should be, do we have access? A boda rider in Kampala, Katwe down there, when he's arrested, the law says he has a right to a lawyer, but can he afford one? That should be the biggest question. Can he afford one? A legal leader today must create free legal clinics. How many do we have in Uganda or in Kampala? We need free legal clinics. Where are they? Okay? We need to access legal help through even WhatsApp to make it very. How many of our legal persons offer 5 minutes every day to say, I am going to talk about this?
I'm glad that Aroho Brian has shared. A number of them have been seeing his articles online somehow.
So he is one of the few who are offering such kind of services to our citizens. So when we are talking about legal leadership, it must be practical, because the world has changed. That when you use WhatsApp to give advice, translate the law into the local language. Let people understand you. Okay? Let us move out of the big words in the courtrooms. I have spent enough time with Council Semakade. From the time when I was so active in the field as an activist. He was my legal representative from 2014. We have spent 10 years together. And he would even sit me down to give me basics on how I should handle some of these issues when he's not there. And I'm glad one time we were on a talk show like this in Jinja, and we were picked up. Before he came, we had already done what we could as his clients. And he came and appreciated. He said, what I've done is actually what I was coming to do. So I am only here now to represent you in court. But you have done the basics. Okay? Even when we were in court, at one point he could not come because we did not even have the money to facilitate his transport. So he would tell us, okay, now when you reach court, handle it A, B, C, D. I remember we demanded for bail for our own souls. At that point, at that time, they were like, you see, you don't have a permanent place of abode because, I come from Jinja. We have a home in Warukuba, Central Village. However, the magistrate was informed that I now live in Kampala. So they wanted me to come with the LC letter from Kampala. Forgetting that.
That was your actual physical address
But
or residence.
That is where I stay when I'm working in Kampala. But if I go back where my parents are, I go back to Jinja in Warukuba. So in either ways, I would still get, because constitutionally, I am given 3 opportunities, either where I work from, or where I stay, or where I was born from. So I'm a villager from Terego, down there deep in the village. So even if I came with that letter from Terego, you wouldn't say, now you man, you don't stay there. It is true, I don't stay there. I can even spend a year without going there. But the moment I die, that's where I will be buried. So this is how our legal fraternity needs really to come up and offer such kind of leadership. Now, that is about access. Now, we need to talk about the issue of courage. When a police officer breaks the law, who has the courage to speak out against this police officer? Because we assume these are the people who actually, who must know the law, who must know how it operates. So when they break the law, who comes up and says, you police officer, you have broken the law? We're always on the road there. One time, while I was on Wandegea Road, a colleague was arrested for stopping a motorbike on a zebra crossing by a police officer, which is right. It is wrong for you to ride or stop on a zebra crossing. Now, 2 days later, I was in Kasubi, the street lights at Nankulabi. I see, and I think these are 3 chapters. What do they mean? 3 of them.
Assistant Superintendent?
Something, I don't know.
In the military or police?
Police.
I think it's
ASP, yes.
Was seated on one of the bikes, and now they were also stopping on the zebra crossing. So now the question is, now, how do you approach such a situation? One time a colleague was arrested because
doing the same.
Doing the same. Now this time it is the enforcer who is actually
Breaking the law.
So this courage, who has that courage to do what? To come up and say, you are doing the wrong thing? Can you also be apprehended? This question should be answered by the legal fraternity and offer us proper leadership. Then speed in legal issues. You see, justice delayed in actual sense is justice denied. Now, here in Uganda, you realize that we have cases, for example, land cases. These cases take over 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Now imagine, a Mzee who was 70 years, someone has encroached his land. This man wants to deal with this issue once and for all before he dies. You're now taking 10 years. Who is going to come and defend this matter when he's gone? You're going to say now, you see, the person who was who came here is gone. Now we wait until I don't know how you call that in legal language, where you must have someone else coming up to take up the matter. If that person doesn't appear, then the matter dies. So that transfer of the case from Ojobile to maybe the son, yet the son had come as a witness and not maybe the complainant. So such scenarios where now justice will not happen, then the thief takes advantage. Maybe it is even the thief who is creating scenarios of making sure that the complainant does not survive for the next few years, so that they take over the land permanently. So such situations, you realize that such challenges create a bad image of the legal fraternity, and it makes people lose trust in courts and the law and the legal practitioners. So how do we deal with this? Is the biggest question we should be answering.
All right, thank you so very much, Jabili, there, sharing your views on that. And I think Afande, you would have approached the Afande and say, sir, I think you are doing
he feared being arrested.
And you are self-breaking the law.
I think that day was dressed in his combat and saying,
feared
being
to approach the Afande when you are in your combat. Interesting. I come to you, Alho, there. As I said before in my introductory remarks, we have technology here. We have AI, which can draft contracts in 30 seconds. Gone are the days when we always look for lawyers to do the contracts, to do the agreements, to draft our documents, which are very, very significant and important. But these days, just a click. The keyboard can do that. In 30 seconds, I have my contract. I can edit and it in the way that I just need it. And looking at that technology, looking at evolving systems, information systems, what a part of leadership can it never touch? And you say, yes, we have AI here, yes, we have technologies here, but in leadership, they can never do ABCD. And also looking at you as an associate who may be using AI, do you miss any annonces that cost the client? Who is leading the fallout? And how can we really manage this in this contemporary world?
Okay, thank you so much, comrade. Now, when you say AI and the law, yes, it's true. We, at a certain point, I think we as a generation are glad that we were born and raised in an era that has rapid AI transformation, yeah? Because now I think I'll start it off from where my comrade was saying, if we have lawyers who are giving pro bono services, maybe 5 minutes or something like that, comrade. On record, I started work with Semakade, Council Isaac Semakade, the president of the Uganda Law Society, last year. We started up those virtual-based X discussions, formerly Twitter, and they are there on record. So would hold these sessions, which would run for almost 2-3 hours. Yeah, that is blended usage of AI, because then it makes no sense saying, "Look, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm inviting you to come and sit on this and this day. Let's meet here." I mean, people have plans, people have programs, but then also comes the issue of the financial inclusion. Does someone have that money to come and attend and just hear Aruho and Semakade speaking? Yeah. Whereas some people can, others may not afford that money, yeah? So we then decided, look, we are in a digital generation. And during Semakade's campaign was the whole thing of digitalization. Said, no, let's take services to the digital platform. Let people listen in, because even still, I do not know if you've followed, when we host those sessions, because now I host them every Sunday, running from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's usually an hour or maximum 2 hours. We record, it's a recorded session, to which after we share the recordings. And Comrade already said the articles we write after sort of, you would call it a report, yeah? So when someone reads through, especially those on WhatsApp, but then we also share across Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and I think X. Someone can easily see that, yes, whereas I missed, okay, they handled A, B, C, and D. We need to look at article this, and this. They broke down this case. Maybe they broke down the aspect of social justice. Maybe they broke down what he's saying. If he had to approach the police officer, which I think by and large that day was dressed in his FDC combat, and he said, "These men, if I attack them, I may spend the next 48 hours inside, yeah, and I may not have access to Aruho, I may not have access to Semakade, Nyizo Sulayo." But where technology has come, there is per every advantage there is a disadvantage. The advantage that AI has brought is that even comrades like my comrade here from FDC can decide, I've been picked up by police. What are the basics? Yeah, I need to know about A, B, C, and D. I can't be held for more than this time, save for the scenarios of when you're picked up on Friday. But then he also needs to know that I have the right maybe to keep quiet, stay silent until my legal representation comes, or even still at that end, I can use my advantage as a Ugandan and tell these people, look, let's follow the law. Now let me take it to the part of the contracts. I think that's where AI has brought a lot of question marks. That someone can wake up one day, Aruho wants to get into maybe a deal with, let's say, person X, yeah? And because for him, he says, I have ChatGPT or something, or Gemini, let me draft up a contract. You're going to do the contract, yes. Which is, as per that point, okay, it has helped you simplify your work. It has helped you simplify maybe the time you are going to take in case you are to look for a lawyer, who's a competent lawyer, who's a trustworthy lawyer, who is a cheaper lawyer, all those things. Those are things that people look into consideration, because someone will say, Aruho usually has suits, I may not afford him, yeah, and yet, which by and large, I think on the other end, you're putting a nail on Aruho's professional name, yeah. But someone is going to draft a contract, and in its entirety, when we are reading it from the other end, the legal end, you clearly see a lot of lacunas, because now people like Comrade Samuel here has been in business in the legal department for long. You can easily see that this is an AI generated contract, because AI is not necessarily all that perfect. That's why they have continuous modifications. And I usually follow Elon Musk on X. When you look at Gemini, there is continuous progression, advancement to it. So, and whereas we would have had access to that, as Ugandans, we hate paying the extra fee for an extra better service. So it puts lawyers at the standpoint of, one, having to deal with unprofessionally written contracts. But then secondly, it also puts the legal fraternity at the end of question marks, because in case such a contract is to be questioned maybe in court, even if it's a magistrate, even if it's a judge, first thing they'll ask you is, you as yourself as a lawyer, did you see that this thing was vague? And you're defending yourself in front of a magistrate, you're actually looking very hopeless, because the magistrate is thinking, maybe this guy didn't even, this is also an AI-powered lawyer, which at the very start is wrong. But then, I'll give, I think, a critique on both ends. One is that in as much as you want to do your work virtually and use ChatGPT and whatever AI technology you have, it is, if the work is legal, it is highly advisable that you get a lawyer, so that you do not misfire, so that you can also task your lawyer and say, you're the one who drafted this, how do we undergo this? Because there are contracts. I'll now give you a situation of insurance companies. Insurance companies have the most funny maneuvering sort of agreements. They will bring a lot of paperwork at for us in Uganda, are the ones who don't like reading. Gamba, let me just sign here and I go. But when you've shared that copy with your lawyer can easily tell you, I think this is a bad insurance contract from the word go. Clause this is going to affect you. Now that's why you need the lawyer. Now maybe the question can come in to say, I heard that there is Council Samuel, I heard that there is Council Semakade, I heard that there is Council Aruho. How trustworthy are they? Now that's where AI now puts the question on us, that person X is going to say, I can use AI to draft this contract because I don't trust these lawyers. They are not trustworthy, or they are going to charge me a lot of money. But you see, my comrade here in FDC Combat was saying that he contacted Semakade. Yeah. At that stage, you have already built a sort of rapport, which is now, yes, you're still a client and this is your service provider, yeah? But now you're more of like brother. Tukoze tutia. Can you help me out? I may not have all that money, but I'm expecting some money. We have that slogan in Uganda, I'm expecting some money. Can I give you a deposit here and then we do this? Yeah. I do not think that ideal. I do not think that at that point Semakade can refuse. Just like the way you said, he would guide. So still he would guide you through AI-based technologies. So I think, comrade, that is it from my end. But to zero it down, AI has its benefits in the legal sector and equally has its demerits. In Kenya, we've seen, I think it was last week, maybe Council Samuel will educate me more or rectify, but I think last week the Kenyan parliamentarians dismissed the AI generated, no, it was Kenya, South Africa, I think South Africa. They had an AI law that they wanted to bring into effect, but it was also generated by AI. So like you're so that you guys, you say you want an AI law, we've also used AI to generate it, but on the other end it was largely lacking. It's more or less like the same bill that we've been having, that the president has said he had no affiliation with, the proposed national sovereignty bill. When you read it when you read it at the very inception, it seemed to be very AI generated. That's why there were a lot of lacunas here and there. Over to you, comrade.
Interesting. Thank you so very much, Councillor Brian. There, before I take a break, I would also bring you in, Yotri, also looking at some of the things that Ojabili and Alho there are sharing. I am looking at the kind of position that you lawyers stand in. Very perplexing, and also visiting a situation there. In your own perspective, should lawyers out on social media or political platforms or on political issues, or we expect them to keep neutral? Because when you enter into these things, then we tend to say you are becoming politicians, you are getting off from the your own skin as a lawyer. Where should we stand?
Thank you so much, Mr. Amon. Well, my colleagues on the panel here were speaking. Mr. Jobile, who first made mention of the name Isaac Semakade, and then my lawyer, learned friend, also made mention of his name severally. Now, there are many of us in the legal fraternity that feel very, very uncomfortable whenever this name Isaac Semakade is mentioned. Very, very uncomfortable. Isaac Semakade, for many reasons, and it relates to the question that you have asked on the expressions of lawyers on some of these political things that, political situations that we have going on in the country. Now, Isaac Semakade is the most unfortunate thing that has happened to the legal fraternity. It is very, very unfortunate that he got the position of leadership of our secretariat at the Uganda Law Society. Mr. Isaac was, in his secondary education, he attended to sciences. He said he did, I think, PCB, stroking something. Those close to him say was headed to PCM, was headed to do an engineering course, but by some accident he ended up doing law and did the LDC and ended up into the practice of the law. So his internal and psychological orientation is not one of lawyering, is not one of advocacy. He's a man who is very lawless in his thought, has seen that when he rose to the position of leadership at the Secretariat of Ugandan Society, you have seen that for the first time, he was able to bring to an end the long-standing tradition of the Ugandan Society of neutrality. That the Ugandan Society is a central arbiter that stands between, that stands to supervise only and only the law. Its allegiance is to the law and not to political parties, not to government, not to opposition parties. But this Isaac Semakade, very, very unfortunately, wrote a document purported to be formally, fully endorsed by the Secretariat, by the whole body of lawyers that practice, saying that the Uganda Society had for the first time endorsed an opposition politician. Then it was, I think, in the previous presidential race, it was Bobby Wine, when he ran on a NUP ticket. The president of Uganda Society endorsed him formally to Ugandans to elect as president, as opposed to His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni of the NRM and many other candidates that were sponsored by the other political parties and the independents. So this was very, very unfortunate. The Association of Senior Counsel spoke against this and said, look, the body of lawyers must strictly and strictly be neutral. It was very, very unfortunate that Mr. Isaac Semakade and a few members of his council attempted to break that tradition. So many of us feel very uncomfortable. He left this country with the issues with the law. You remember that he had moved with insults against a judge of the High Court, and he left here when he has I think he had a 2 years term of imprisonment to serve for contempt of court. He left here with several criminal cases in the courts of law. We have cases right now as we speak at the Chief Magistrate's Court of Buganda Road. I think he should be on a warrant of arrest. So this is a lawless fellow that we feel very, very unfortunate that he ever got the opportunity to be president of the Uganda Society. The discussions that my colleague... Is it true that
he went into all that because of his political opinions, or you attribute this to his personal attachments to some of these systems and also individuals that you just mentioned?
Mr. Semakade, like I said before, when you look at his schooling, it was not one of lawyering, given... Well, of course, you can do the sciences and end up in arts, but traditionally, those that wanted to go...
But we also have some lawyers who have gone through the same systems and same direction, were scientists and turned into lawyers, but they have become good lawyers. And some people say that when you enter into politics is when you tend to be a bad lawyer.
True. But my point there was that his schooling and those around him clearly say he was headed for something different and accidentally ended up in law, which must inform us of why his attitude to the profession is like that. The second aspect is the fact that he had an affiliation with FDC. Without mentioning
individuals anyway,
yes.
Because you would mention Council Semakade, others would mention Council Mabilizi, and
yes.
then the list is endless.
Sure.
But should lawyers participate in politics or give their opinions, especially on the serious issues in the country, or they should rather remain in their profession and become and remain neutral?
Amon, lawyers, like many other members of our populace, have a right to thought. They have a right to thought, and they have the right to form opinions. They have the right to affiliate and associate with those that hold the opinions that they hold. They have the right to associate with the groups that hold the same views as themselves, and that includes political parties that they can affiliate with, that they can express themselves with. So lawyers, as private individuals, can hold political opinions, but when lawyers, and I'm not talking about a particular individual, but when lawyers group as a professional body, they must maintain that neutrality. Now, I wanted to address, my colleague talked about the issue of access to justice, citing the example of a boda man in the YC. He talked about speed in our legal processes. It is true, Mr. Amon, we have a challenge currently in our legal system. We have the fact that lawyering and access to lawyers is quite expensive, and it's understandable because I operate a law firm, and the operational costs of running a legal business, it can be quite challenging sometimes. You have, like all other businesses, you have these overheads of office of above you have staff, you have the cleaners, and you have all these expenses going on, and it is only fair that it is natural that some of these expenses may have to be passed in your billing of the clients, but there are institutions that give free legal aid services. We have FIDA, for example, that has been very instrumental in helping, particularly in the area of family law. The women, they are usually run there very fast. We have justice centers that is usually quick to help with particularly in aspects of criminal law. They are representing many of these accused persons, even in the magistrates' courts, where they are not entitled to lawyers as of right, as opposed to the High Court, where the state will usually give you a lawyer. Then in capital cases, government, and in fact the constitutional framework we have allows for assignment of a lawyer to offenders in the capital offences. We have had recently, you saw the case of Mr. Christopher Onyu, who was tried in a public court, in a mobile public court in Igaba, the incident of the school, the death of the pupils at a nursery institution. So, usually the government will come through and, as the laws allow, assign a public defender to many of these accused persons. So efforts have been made to even the Uganda Society has a pro bono as a legal aid clinic, where they have duty counsel stationed at police stations, and they have an extension of lawyers that give free legal aid services. I have had the opportunity in my course of duty to be arrested as a lawyer. You go to a police station, you go to an institution to be helped, and you end up being arrested and almost charged together with your client. And the Uganda Society usually is very quick to assign lawyers to come to your rescue. So I've also been a beneficiary of these free legal aid services. I know they are not yet, because of the limitations in finance, they are not very many and are not widespread throughout the country, but there are efforts to make sure that the cost of legal representation is subsidized. My brother here talked about, just very quickly, the issue of speed in our legal processes. We have a challenge that we have a community that now is very cautious of their rights. With the inception of UPE in the early 2000s and the USE in secondary education, people are educated. Ugandans are really, really, really educated. When you look at our literacy levels, before the inception of the UPE and the USE, they were low, but now it is a little bit high, especially in the urban areas of Kampala. There's a lot of litigation. People know the law, people know their rights, people know when you offend them legally, they understand there is rule of law, they understand that the law can actually be an effective way to address their griefs. So usually they will check in the rate at which cases are being filed in civil litigation is very high. The rate at which criminal cases are being also initiated are very, very high, and that causes a backlog in our system of the judiciary. And it is understandable, and it is the case that really there is a little bit of delays in the backlog and the like. But with the increase in maybe a higher budgetary allocation to the judiciary, we should be able to, and technology, we should be able to reduce that backlog.
Interesting. Thank you so very much, Oyotri. And we're taking a very short break, maybe a quick one. Ojobili, you are somehow complaining and blaming the councils and lawyers and legal practitioners. But one person would also say that you political parties also have a noble role, especially on empowering and also educating the people and the citizens and also your supporters on some of the legal awareness. And one wonders what you are doing to make sure that the people of Uganda understand maybe their rights, understand the law, understand even their constitution, or even your party rules and regulations, or the constitution. Don't you think political parties also have that right, as you said that lawyers should do?
First of all, maybe before I go there, I would be unfair to Council Semakade not to defend his name on this platform.
When he ever defended you?
Yes. He has defended me pricelessly. At one time I was in prison. I did not even expect a lawyer. I only expected to come and to represent myself.
But he defended you because he was a lawyer. How are you going to defend him when you are not?
But I'm on the platform. So I'm on a platform on a radio talk show where his image is being tainted. So I have a right, I have the opportunity to defend him. You see, Council Semakade has been described as an accident in the legal fraternity. I don't think it's right.
I don't think by all parties.
No, by Council Samuel Yotre. Council Semakade, if you looked at his educational background, I think he has been a success. While in his primary, he was the best in Masaka.
With 4 aggregates.
The best, even if it was how many, but he was the best in the entire of Masaka. Out of all the students who sat in that year, he was the best. Number 1. When he came to SMAC, in the entire country, he was among the best 10.
He had 10 in 10.
Okay?
To be specific.
He was among the best students in the entire country. So, when he proceeded and went on, he's being...
I think those are defending Semakade are quite many. I see Alho also...
you should give me my chance after my comrade.
You know, when you are the best, you always think in the best way possible. Council Semakade, what I am talking about offering what we call legal clinics. In 2016, when Mr. Kayihura became a tormentor of this community called Uganda, at any point a political gathering took place, he would come up with batons, he would come up with water cannons, and would come up with tear gas. Make sure that people do not enjoy their freedom of association and freedoms of gathering. At the end of it all, we had so many border guys, we had so many food vendors who would not even access legal services. Council Semakade opened up a book at his chambers, that is Legal Brain Trust, which was at a teacher's house, and made an announcement on radio for every other person who was affected to come and register in that book. And he opened up a file at Uganda Road, only that they refused to give it the ears that were needed at that time, until when the parties lost interest in the matter, and that's how things ended up. How he becomes an accident is maybe the political part of it. That if you don't support me, I look like I'm an accident in the office, maybe I have won. That is normal, and it is acceptable in the democratic world. That you don't support me, I might not look the worthwhile person towards your ambitions. But this is someone who has the passion to serve in the legal fraternity. Actually, when I was discussing with him, one time I even asked him, what influenced you to go into this? Because your brain deserves to be in the medical department. Actually, for me, I told him, you deserve to be in the medical department. Because when you sit with him, a simple word here, as this the brand of this water we are taking, he would describe this brand and expand it to a level that you don't. Would expand it to a level that you don't expect.
Okay.
So I asked him, why didn't you go into medicine? Because really you deserve to go there. The answer was very simple. He said, I grew up looking at people suffering because they did not have people to speak on their behalf. So I decided to come into the legal fraternity so that people can use me to speak on their behalf. And this is exactly what he does. He comes up, even if you don't give him a coin, Semakad will show up in court and represent you enthusiastically. He will give you all he has, and he will open up all the books and will open up all the legal documents to make sure he defends you. That's how he won this nicotine kind of law, which was he defended that until he was in court against the issues of nicotine. Okay. If you remember when he won case, where almost all the government apparatus was against him. So this is someone who is not an accident, but he has the passion. And for us who are in talent building, you first look at the passion, then you go for the talent. Because even a talented person, at the end of it all, if does not have the passion, that person will end up useless in that field. Okay. So passion first, then talent second.
Thank you, sir.
Coming to the political parties, how we...
In a minute, because you spent a lot of time on Semakad.
Political parties, true, they have a responsibility. As you know that we are a social entity as a political party, that our capital is basically in the community. That if we do not help the community to understand majority of the evils that would affect their normal ways of doing things, it would look ugly. Now, as FDC, not going so far, we are always making sure that without going very far, any election that happens, we have a clear roadmap that comes out. It is never amended. We don't amend our roadmaps and say now we had said today we are going in for nominations. No, the nominations will now come tomorrow. Just because you've realized one of the opponents maybe must be kicked out within that period. No, we don't always do that. We announce and we say how nominations will take place within this period. And
you
that
speak as if you know some parties or individuals who do that.
Even the National Electoral Commission amended its roadmap about 15 times.
But you don't also understand that their roadmap is always affected by the national events. I remember when they had nominations in around September. I'm not sure though about the time. Is the time we had the mid-term non-allied movement summit of the ministers who had come to Uganda there in Munyonyo, and of course they had to alter their roadmap.
You see,
and that was really understandable.
You see, that is now what we are talking of, the legal administration or leadership. You see, when I am making such a document, it's a national document. So I make inquiries from all the other national departments. This is what even the sovereignty law is suffering from. That they are making a very good document in a wrong way. You don't even go and inquire from the medics. What would this affect us? Because you have a minister in charge of health. You have a minister in charge of foreign affairs. You have a minister in charge of finance. Why can't you involve these people before you bring such a document? Now, this is what I blame the Electoral Commission for. They decided to make their roadmap secretively without involving other stakeholders. Because if you're making a roadmap, involve FDC, involve NRM, involve ADP, then say, this is the roadmap we intend to release. Go study it, make adjustments in case there are adjustments, kindly within 7 days, this we expect that you would have given us the feedback. Now, if such does not happen, you just give us a final copy. Then you again bring another final copy, then another final copy, and another final copy 15 times. So you imagine what kind of leadership they are offering. You just know there is a problem. So that is what we do as a party before we make this public to you, the press people. As the Electoral Commission, we sit within ourselves. Then after we have sat as Electoral Commission, we now involve the regional leaders. And we say now, our regional leaders, please, to the Secretariat, take interest in understanding this. When that happens, we now take it to the Working Committee. Working Committee is a committee of about 15 leaders. So these leaders also look at the document and say, okay, errors are here, lacunas are here, please adjust accordingly. Before it goes to NEC, and it may be after it has been passed, it will now go to the public. So this is how we make our things for the good of our consumers. Thank you.
Interesting, our dear listener. You can as well share your opinions and perspective or concern that you need to be addressed in our program 0776511426. Send your messages there or call us after this very short break. I will be picking your calls and share your perspective. We do value them and we love you people. This is UBC Ground Zero by the Amon of Buteega. I'm taking a very short break. I'm returning in just a bit. I pray you don't go away.
Ground Zero Season 2. Stay tuned. We shall be right back. It's hot.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody should. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Hello, Uganda! Are you ready to discover a hidden gem? UBC Radio will be taking you on a journey as counties, languages spoken with a diverse range of cultures freely. Fertile lands, constituencies, exciting tourism opportunities, and the people. UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda. Hello, Uganda! Are you ready to discover a hidden gem? Are you a Ugandan earning below 1 million shillings per year? Government of Uganda is strategically putting PDM for you to get you out of poverty. PDM is an initiative of the Government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform the lives of all Ugandans for better.
Get to know more about PDM in your parish by tuning in. We bring you experts to explain, clarify, educate, and interact with you on how to benefit from PDM.
PDM, my parish, my development, my life. UBC Radios, inspiring Uganda.
As Uganda works towards Vision 2040, UBC Radio, Luo. This is UBC Radio.
Welcome back. Ground Zero continues.
Welcome back from that very short break. This is UBC Ground Zero, and we are live on 5 radio stations that cover this program. We are talking about defining legal leadership in the contemporary world, zeroing it to our own country, Uganda, but also spreading our nets to Africa and also the world at large. And you can as well share your comments, views or perspectives, or even any concern that you'd love my guests in the studios of UBC to address. We are on 5 radio stations that cover this program, also streaming live on YouTube. But you can call on 776-511-426. The number to call is 0776-511-426, and we shall be able to get your comments and also share with you this very topic. In the studios, I have a privilege to have Counsel Samuel Oyotre, is the advocate at Oyotre and Company Advocates. We have Ojobili Augustine, Secretary Electoral Commission from Forum for Democratic Change. We have Alho Brian, or Counsel Alho Brian from Alho Foundation, and we are talking about defining legal leadership in the contemporary world. I can see so very many messages coming in, but we can as well pick some calls and know what you think. You're live on UBC Radio.
Thank you, Amon. Juma calling from Buteega.
Thank you, sir.
Greeting to Mr. Ojabili and the council. For the legal leadership, what I see, the dictators infringed towards their offices. They are not being allowed to do their job as mandated by the Constitution. The rule of law is being abused by some of the political actors, which makes them to gain more power to decide on the judicial leaders, which to me I see it is very wrong. Today, even 7 is an alpha and omega, and is the one who decides on behalf of judicial laws. Yes, he's the one who appoints, but now when you appoint, allow them to do their constitutional work. That's where sometimes we go wrong. Look at the political prisoners. Then bring the one of Okello or Nyom to suffer. Within short time, trial has been ended, and the person has been punished. And that is what the public demanding from the judiciary.
Your network is very poor, sir. I wish you, and where we can get you very well, or call us again on 776-511426, and we shall able to get your comments well. I can see some messages coming in, and if I can use this very opportunity to go through them, I can have him again. Yes, we can get you now.
Hello?
You're live and clear.
All right, thank you very much. Juma has come because he said network was disturbing me. To me, my prayer is let the dictators to allow judicial to do their work. Sometimes I see normally President Museveni decide on behalf of judicials, which is wrong. Yes, he's the one who appoints some of them. But now for which purpose? We, the public, we want to see that all these institutional of government, they are performing their work to serve the nation, not to serve some individuals. I gave an example like Okello Onyum Christopher. His case was within short period of time, and the clarity came out, and he had been taken to where he deserved to be taken. Then I'm saying, why political prisoners? Someone is being under detention more than 4, 5, 6 years. No trial, no judgment. That's where the transparency are dead. We need judicial to perform their work as mandated by the Constitution of Uganda. I thank you very much for your services of the nation. Amen. Bye.
Thank you so very much, our own there, sharing his views on UBC Ground Zero program. You're live on UBC radios.
Hello.
You're live and clear. Your name and where you're calling us from?
I'm calling from Toronto.
Okay, sir.
I appreciate the program, but there's one thing that my question is that why is it that so many people are getting who have not been tried for 20 years down the road? And the judiciary is there. Thank you.
All right. think it is network also or my machine. But I want to believe that it is the network on the other end. 776-511-426. I can also get some of the comments here. Someone says, I am Emmanuel, listening in from Moyo. I didn't get to the village there. I may not be able to pronounce this well. But you're listening in from Moyo, Emmanuel, and you're saying thank you so very much, UBC. And if you had to look at some people that we celebrate in this country, especially in the legal leadership, there are quite many, but the youth are not coping from the old guard. They will have a challenge with the lawyers of these days. Okay. Thank you, UBC, for the program. The laws, as Ojibile said, they are good, but on paper, we need also lawyers to be in government to be able to implement them. I wish you put the name on where you're calling, where you're listening from. Thank you, UBC. I am listening clearly here in Ginger City. Okay, thank you so very much. I am Opendi. I want to thank the councils in our studios today for sharing their views on the laws of this country. Okay. Thank you, Amon, for the program. We have challenges to do with our legal systems and leadership. We have good lawyers, but with poor legal systems, and the two cannot work. You can't plant good seeds in poor soil and you expect the good things. I think you're spelling there. Okay, but he's comparing lawyers and the legal systems as the good seed and poor soils there. I am listening in from Entebbe. My name is Michael. And how can the young people engage in politics while still upholding the law? Because every time you race, then you seem to be outside the law, and that's how you end your life in cells. Okay, thank you, the people of Entebbe. I'm wondering what ethical challenges can those lawyers in your studios share today, in that they may encourage those who are in practice, and how should they respond to them? Because if you are to see, among the people who are targeted, especially by law enforcers, are the lawyers. This is strange. Okay. How can advocates make the law more understandable and accessible to ordinary citizens? We always see hard terms, and how I wish they always break them when they are talking to us who never went to school for the same. Okay. Ojobile there is an apostle of violence, and I am glad that he ever tested that. I think he would, since 2014, instead of relying on Semakade, he would have gone to school for 4 years. Now he will be a lawyer for himself and for the FDC. Okay. I'll pause for now for the messages and go back to the studios of BBC for my guests to be able to address some of these concerns. I would start with Aloho, Oyotre, and Ojobile there.
Mr. Amon, there is one of the persons giving us feedback who said that lawyers need to be in government so that there is better compliance with the law. It's very, very important, that comment that he has mentioned. I remember particularly in police during the time of General Kale Kaihura, there was a deliberate effort by the Uganda Police Force to ensure that at least police officers at the level of OCCIDs at the stations were lawyers. You know, criminal cases begin at police stations, where a case is reported, a criminal offense is reported, and then the OCCID at the station will usually appoint one of the CIDs to investigate the matter, and when the matter is investigated, the file is forwarded through the OCCID to the RSA, and then the DPP will advise whether there is a criminal case. Why the police was very, very insistent at some point in time that OCCIDs must be, preferably at that time, many of them were actually lawyers by training, many of them with the bachelors in law, others with the, even advocates who had concluded the bar course. OCCID is very, very important because you need to be thorough when you're investigating these cases. So I agree with this good brother of ours who has commented that lawyers need to be for compliance with law. When you go to procurement, there are processes that require someone to really understand the law, and so that there is a bit of compliance, and there is government does not find itself in murky waters. We have, of course, the office of the Attorney General that advises government, but you may not have to get advisory from Attorney General every now and then when government needs to act. Attorney General ideally is advisor to the central government here, but in local governments down there, it may be difficult for the district to write to Attorney General every now and then when they need that kind of advisory before they act. So it's very important that lawyers are fitted in these places. And indeed, lawyers are there in government, in private, in parastatals, in the companies. They are there and they're helping out very much. Those days in the companies, companies you see, like, for example, banks, they used to mainly maintain external counsel for matters that are going to court. But they are now domesticating lawyers. You don't have to have external lawyers whenever there's trouble and you need to go to court. They employ these lawyers and bring them in what they call in-house counsel. I have, for example, at UBC here, my good brother and OB friend, I think the company secretary here, Mr. Ernest Kisitu. A nice weekend to you out there. Is an advocate, but he's in-house here. So companies and institutions, parastatals, are domesticating these lawyers so that there is compliance within. And I agree with him. That comment is very, very important.
All right, Brian.
All right, thank you so much. Was made that it was a comment and both a query that our comrade in FDC combat here should have gone to law school. Now, people need to. You see, we are different people. Everyone is born with a different parent in a different society, and equally they grow up with different ambitions. His ambition might have been to be a politician. Ours was the legal field, and other people choose engineering. Other people choose.
We can't all be lawyers.
Yeah, we can't all be lawyers, because then what? Who will treat us? Who will equally teach the nation? Who will handle finances? Who will do the journalism work? Who will paint? So I think we just need to have boundaries, really, how to respect people. The other thing on government having lawyers, parastatals to best understand these things, I do not think that we have any parastatal in Uganda that doesn't have a legal direct in-house lawyers, in-house counsel. Every ministry you go to in Uganda has a legal a directorate of a legal directorate, and at least every parastatal that I know of is mandated to have a legal directorate. So yeah, our lawyers, they are there. Then there came in the issue of how do we localize the law. Now, firstly, and also the aspect of quick justice. Our current boss, the Chief Justice, Dr. Zija, brought about the mandatory bail. ADR procedure. That now most of these cases have to undergo ADR, which is given, I think, was given 40 days, 60 days.
See, that is what people are asking. Now, what is ADR?
Now, ADR. So let me give it in two perspectives, yeah? To the lawyers, that is alternative dispute resolution. To the normal person, it is as simple as saying, let's say they quote Brian. Why am I using myself? Let's say they quote Brian stealing a hen, yeah? And then society wants to beat Brian to death. ADR is saying, guys, look, let's go to dispute resolution. Before we beat Brian to death, what might have been the causes of him stealing the hen? One, there might be the issue of hunger. equally there might be the issue of economics. Why doesn't this gentleman have food at his table? Maybe he is unemployed, maybe his finances are not adding up. So ADR is saying that, look, before you guys come running to court and then we have a lot of cases which in the long run is going to bring backlog, and then he wants to take him to court already. Like, first understand, was the woman your so-called partner? Is she still in a relationship with you, or are you in the relationship with yourself? So you need to, though the problem is at that point there is a legal terminology called heat of passion. In the normal setting, it's called obusungu or wamangu. So in obusungu or wamangu, Brian would have already shot somewhere. You get, so we are saying before you get that gun and you shoot, first understand, these guys might have not intended to sleep together. Maybe the weather brought about the issue. Maybe they were watching a movie and they got erotic. Maybe she lost interest for you, or maybe you also equally a poor performer in bed. Just here and there. But needless to say is that we have ADR, which I think by and large is trying to speed up the process in as much as we have a lot of case backlog. Should lawyers participate in politics? Yes, they should, in my view. It's a two-angled discussion. It's a double-edged sword. One, lawyers are not restricted from, because at the end of the day, if you're in Uganda, you are a citizen, and you are a citizen of the Republic of Uganda. You are governed by the Constitution, which has the Bill of Rights, which gives you the freedom of association, which gives you the freedom of speech. Now, we have lawyers that are now MPs. MP elects, others are already MPs. So should they participate? Yes, they should participate in politics, because when you come with the legal end, the work of parliament primarily is the law. So what better way would you want? I think it's best we have these lawyers there so that when they sit and read and look through some of these things, we won't be struggling with hopeless legislations in Uganda. For example, the proposed national sovereignty bill and, and the related. But then allow me handle the issue of, I think, Comrade Semakade, just briefly. I do not want to defend here and there, but personally, I met him in the year 2021. That's when he was battling something with CID. That was my first time seeing him, and if I'm to remember very well, I think I was too excited. I was too happy. I'm like, oh, this is the gentleman, Semakade. Then they had two groups of lawyers. There was NetPil and there was PILAC. NetPil is the network of public interest lawyers. Public is the PILAC is the public interest something. I forget it in full. Litigation and something. But I was more into NetPil. I met on the same day. I met Dr. Daniel Waliemera. I met Counsel Tegule Gawaya. I met Counsel Aaron Chiza. I met Counsel Isaac Semakade. And you could distinctly tell that these gentlemen are educated. And that day is when I also got to know about Legal Brains Trust, about their work, because it's a main partner of NetPil. Yeah. Now, what he was saying that Uganda Law Society now they partner with some of these bodies and send lawyers to help out pro bono. Now, in as much as, yes, we all have our bad ends, but I think Semakade, by and large, has really, I think, groomed a certain generation of law students transitioning to lawyers on critical assessment of, one, rulings, two, of the law. Because when you're looking at the law, you're looking at what is taught in school vis-a-vis what is actually on ground.
Okay.
Yeah. For purposes of time, I think let me end it there. But gladly, I am really glad to join these two gentlemen. Thank you.
Interesting. So many messages coming in. Lawyers should respect the law. There is a time when lawyers sometimes let some of the laws and you question their education and profession. Okay. We need fairness for everyone, not just the powerful. The law favors the rich. Justice takes too long. Corruption affects the outcomes. We are also looking at the backlog. Amon, you talked about the AI, and one wonders, if we have these systems, why can't the judges and also legal systems use technology to be able to work on these cases? They are still taking cases and the backlog is still the same like when we never had these tech systems. Okay. Ojabil, any
yes, Amon, you
concern
see,
to address?
You see, I would want to begin by a colleague who says I should have gone into law. You see, even within law itself, people need to understand how best you can practice the law itself. Okay? We had, is now a late Counsel Peter, who was murdered in cold blood, if you remember, in Luzira, at Luzira. And there was a story that was running around in relation to a phone and something. Those stories you never connect with. If you got Counsel Peter and put him in court, because of his style of speaking, you would begin assuming that you are losing the case there and then. Even if he was that... Because I was with them. But Counsel Peter was a very thorough researcher. That if you had a matter to go to court and you handed over the item to him and said, how should we handle this issue? He would give you all the scenarios and bring you all the legal ideas, and you would go and win. So, even within the same fraternity, there are lawyers you'd say this one is not good at the bar, but is good at bringing you the document, doing the documentation. There are those who will be good in human rights, and there are those who will be good on land issues. There are those who will be good on contract issues, and there are those who will be good in other managemental affairs. So for me, who is not even a lawyer, it shouldn't bother you, because even the lawyers themselves, they are not doing everything. Those who do specific things. So there is no reason as to why you should push on your bidder to go and do law. Just because he must he must go and represent himself. No. So counsel actually represented me very well and said everybody has a choice. And choice...
You should pay my consultation fees.
Then colleague also in Entebbe, I think, is concerned about the arrests that have been taking place. You are a candidate, and then you end up in prison even before you are declared. So how should we deal with this? You see, in dictatorship, expect everything. When you say we are living under a regime where the president is a dictator, just don't expect fairness, because a dictator does not deal with fairness. A dictator will deal with the personal feelings. That how do I feel about such a situation? What can I gain out of this? Not what can we? No. What can I gain out of this situation? So when you have leadership of such a character, you will not have fairness in the electoral system. I had a question. I don't know, our colleagues here did not give it due attention. But the issue of the legal system vis-a-vis the lawyers, you people forgot, I think, to handle it. But the issue of a system is a national, it's national in nature, that how do we have our policies enacted and have people fit into them, okay? Because A legal system must accommodate the lawyer. It must accommodate it must accommodate the practitioner, and it must accommodate those being represented fairly. Okay, that is the system. But today we are looking at this system. We are also complaining, as other people are saying, that why must other people's cases run so fast and other cases remain as if they are not in Uganda? There are some people who were arrested in 2019. Up to today, they are still in the prison. Why? You mean there are no judges, there are no magistrates? That is a system. The failure in the system has made them stay there. Do we have lawyers within the regime coming up to say this is wrong? Yes. Do we have the lawyers' voices being respected? No. So why is it that they are not respected? It is because of the system. So we cannot really say we have good lawyers and we have bad system. Then you also say we have bad lawyers, then we have a good system. No, the issue is both are there. We have lawyers who passed because they are clever in class. So they wrote their essays and they passed very well. But when you bring them to the practical bit of it, they also don't know what to do. They only passed the papers and that was good for their certificate. But practically they are not good. But then the system should be able to shape these people, that this is actually what you're supposed to do. This bottle of water should not be flipped. It should be standing in this format. So when you flip it, automatically the system catches you. So this is what we are talking about. So as a citizen, we should be talking of the laws that can help Mama Nachi in the market. That if Mama Nachi, who is in the market selling food, Oyagaya maker, I want you to give me food of 2K. This is what I have. Can that Mama Nachi, when he's attacked by legal challenges, can she access the legal system and he actually gets justice? That is the question we are asking here.
Okay.
Mr. Amon, my brother is...
Our time is fast spent, and we're going to give our way forward. And what are your prayers, as you, the lawyers, always want to say. And I will start with Alho there. You give your way forward, and maybe we'll give you parting shots as well. Alho?
All right. Thank you so much, comrade. In conclusion, as we are winding up this session, one is I call upon citizens of Uganda not to lose faith in justice systems, but also to be passionate about reading, because a lot of information is shared on different platforms, but I rally them to look at newspapers and also official handles of government or respective body information outlets. Yeah, for example, maybe we have GCIC for government, we have an official channel for judiciary. So that way you can get information quickly. But then secondly, I also kindly request Ugandans to make use of the legal professionals they have in their circles. Your social capital doesn't begin at the point of view that you know Aruhu as an advocate. It begins at you knowing him as that law student who started law school from year one, because that is going to be your real trustworthy lawyer. Your muntu wo okitegeera ogwe niwo muntu wawe. That is the person that is going to help you as a brother, as a sister, just like our comrade said that Semakade came in for him, not as a client, but as someone he was with in the trenches. Yeah, so that is the person who is going to finish, because you see there are stages in law. You begin as a law student, you progress to a lawyer. You can be a lawyer all the years you want, but the moment you get enrolled to the bar, you then become an advocate. Yeah. So there are stages of counsel, then senior counsel, the fancy titles. But I don't want people to fear lawyers. Lawyers also have red blood. We are human beings. Reach out to us. For example, me, my WhatsApp is always open. Comrade, you know that. Send in a message will help. If it means, if I see that I cannot help you in that legal matter, trust me, I'll send you to Samuel. I'll send you to Semakade. I'll give you a person that I know will help you in that specific area. Because me personally, I practice ADR, tax and energy law, but I also look at mainly corporate and commercial law and then international law. Things outside there, things like family matters, what else is there? And the related, those ones are outside my capability. So I'll call Samuel, can you handle this person? So let them reach out to us, comrade. My number is always open. I do not know, is it fine if I share it or it disturbs?
Now that we are talking about legal assistance and pro bono, we'll allow, and this is a national broadcaster.
All right. But sorry for that small kalango. My number is 775-918839. That is 0775-918839. My email accordingly is arohobrian19@gmail.com. 1919. So
Thank
they
you.
can reach out, and then I'll always help them or forward them to other people like my senior who can also equally help them. Thank you. Over to you.
From the facial expression of Council Oyotre, I think you asked to do the same. And party shots as Jabele will sum it all.
Thanks, dear. My brother here, he refers to me in a very nice collegial manner. And it is the practice of our profession. There is someone who said lawyers of nowadays have problems. We have inherited a profession where, respect to those who have been there perhaps a bit longer is something that we acknowledge. So thank you so dearly, my learned brother, Mr. Aruho. Now, my parting shot is, as my brother said, Mr. Aruho said, have faith in our justice systems. It's very, very important. Judicial authority in Uganda, our constitutional framework really gives sovereignty to the people. And judicial authority is exercised in the name of the people and for the people. So we must have faith in the justice system. It's very unfortunate you saw what happened recently during the arrest of Mr. Okello Onyum, Christopher, when the community wanted to leech him to death and said, Ruachi Mumukwata, why are you arresting the man? Mumutuwe, and things like that. So you have faith in the justice system. Yes, there are challenges, that the case backlog is a very big problem. The system is clogged with a lot of cases, but our leadership is trying to make efforts to make sure that this case backlog is addressed and that there is access to justice. We have a small claims procedure where you don't even need lawyers anymore. Claims below 10 million shillings, you can address them yourself without needing a lawyer. We have ADR, as my brother talked about, where there is alternative dispute resolution, where you can have arbitration, where you can have mediation. Even if it is a criminal case in a court of law, you can have a reconciliation and you settle this matter out of court. Family matters, why should you go in court and you're stuck there with you have blood relations between the two of you or three of you? These matters can be settled using ADR and the like. And all these efforts are geared towards reducing case backlog. Yes, efforts are being made. The judiciary has budgetary constraints, but we apply the government of Uganda because the budget has always been on the increase. About 2022 or thereabout, we had a budget of about 371 billion shillings. In the subsequent year, it went to around 382. In the subsequent one, it went to about 396 thereabout. In last year's financial year, we had a budget of 442 billion Ugandan shillings. So you can see that the government is really committed to increasing its budget to the judiciary, and with this, I'm sure we will have better ways of ensuring that the administration of justice is effective and that case backlog is reduced such that there is access to justice. We have seen increase in the appointments of judicial officers. It is still low, but at least the judicial officers every year at the bench of the High Court, they are being increased. magistrates are being increased. We have about 90 chief magistrates courts, and efforts are being made to roll out more of these courts such that the people can access judiciary with ease. So we thank you so much for tuning in. Please have faith in the judiciary, and if you have a case, do not take up arms for yourself. Report. If it is criminal, follow that trend. To civil, subject it to the courts of law and authorities. Thank you.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you so very much, Ojabili. But also, gentlemen, Council Brian and Council Oyetre, I would, sorry to bring you back on the microphone. I would need 2 or 3 seconds to give me your best lawyers or advocates of court or judges, any in your system that you ever celebrate, whether still living or not. Jabili, as you will also end with that, and I will get their names.
Now, I thought that was now for the people who are practicing the law. Otherwise, when you take me in that line,
I want to believe that you're Ugandan, and there are those that you'll ever celebrate. You have already mentioned one.
I already celebrated one. Everyone already knows that I celebrate Semakade, and I love him so much. He might have got his personal challenges like any other person, but at least he's one guy who made me understand the law. Even when I'm not a lawyer, I can sit and discuss the law with my amateurish kind but at least the council would sit me as we are seated here, and would go into the shelf and brings a book, puts it here and says, now open this page, there's this article, read this, and it tells you, now you've got something you've got some sense in your head. Says yes, okay. So that's how he would. But
is he equally a good teacher?
Yeah, he's a good teacher. He would make you really understand in a hard way. He would make things simple in a hard way. But trying to make maybe my last remarks on this issue. As earlier on I stated, I said, you see, legal leadership today is not about those big words in the courtroom. It's about making sure a lady like Mama Nachi in the market there, or we knows her rights, and that the law protects her when she really needs it. That is the most basic thing we need with the law. Okay? Now, like when I go into the football world, today, you don't need CAF to take a decision over a dispute here between KCCA and Vida. You just need to fast track the issue with the FUFA, legal department, and then make sure that this issue is solved within Uganda, quickly, fairly, and every party is given the due judgment. And that is what we need also as a country. That we don't need to go to ICC or to rush to East African Legislative Assembly, East African Court, okay? Just because there is failure in our country. So a legal leader in this era of 2026 must have 3 things. And that's 1, a clean heart. A clean heart which looks at justice, not looking at the money bit. Where is the injustice? That is what a legal mind or a legal person should really look at. So you must have a clean heart. You must have a brave voice to speak against injustice. Speak out without fear. Let the people down there understand that actually a lawyer so and so is against this act. I am very happy. I've been following these online discussions about the sovereignty law. You even brought up something many people had not talked about. The issue of first going back to the people and carry out a referendum, because this was changing a lot of things in people's lives and the country at large. So we must have a referendum before this law is passed, this act is passed into a law. So I was happy about that. Then maybe the last issue is having, you must have a smartphone as a legal leader. You need to be growing with the kind of technology we are having. You don't have a smartphone, I am going to be questioning how you are really evolving with the current...
I'll be committed to your case.
You are not committing to me alone. I know you are not only working on me, because I can't even give you a quota of what you need for the entire month. So I think our legal leaders need a smartphone. If they can't afford one, at least find a client who says you will handle my matter, but I need a smartphone as payment. So you need a smartphone because it helps you to do research. It helps you to even catch up with AI. Some of these things you may not need to go and look for a gazette somewhere, but you can approach them on the phone, and you just need to know the volume, the volume number, and put it on the phone, get the document as you need it. So we need a smartphone as legal leaders and approach everything as it is. For any other thing, I think you needed 2 people. I have one, that is Isaac Semakade, and I will end with him. Thank you very much.
How you said 2 people? Okay, how would you celebrate in your profession? And Oyotre will end.
All right. So in our profession, me, I celebrate 2 people. They are still alive. Yeah. Because for us, we have respect of structuring. Judiciary-wise, I would celebrate our current Chief Justice, that's Dr. Flavian Nzinja. One for the introduction of mandatory ADR. I think by and large that is going to help us. But then also the issue of the mobile court system, the door-to-door court system. Secondly, I'll appreciate President Isaac Semakade, the president of the Uganda Law Society, because all lawyers are under his helm. So I would appreciate him because it is not an easy thing leading land fellows. They are the most quarrelsome people. And putting them in the same line is a very hard thing. So I want to give him his kudos for this far he has gone, for being strict with procedural errors that are being made, but then equally for motivating indirectly and indirectly law students, because when you are at the helm of the Uganda Law Society, you do not know who you are motivating directly and indirectly. So my 2 people are Dr. Flavian Nzinja, the head of the judiciary, and then President Senior Counsel Isaac Semakade, head of the Uganda Law Society. Thank you.
Good. Yotre?
Amon, lawyering is it's very difficult to practice and be in this fraternity, the lawyering profession, without having mentors and people that you look up to. While I was at the Law Development Center, there's a gentleman by the names of the Honorable Eli Karuhanga, who's I remember coming across an article in the New Vision, and a whole page was devoted to him, and this picture was there, and it was, I picked this picture, that one page. I remember I used the toothpaste to glue that photograph on the wall at my room when I was in law school. So I've always looked to him. I admire him very, very greatly, and his practice of the law is blended with so many things. He began with the law, and then he's a very, very serious business person. He has also been in parliament before. I think he represented in Nyabushozi County in parliament, and he represents the country of Seychelles in Uganda. So he has a blend of so many things in him. He's into business and commerce. He's also into a bit of politics, into diplomacy,
into petroleum
and all
of
these
recent.
Yes, please.
Into petroleum and oil.
Yes, into petroleum. He's one of the lead lawyers actually in the field of petroleum, and he simplifies petroleum, oil and gas, and addresses matter, things that are so rocket science. You would address them and speak to them, and you see opportunities. Even as a local farmer in Hoima, there you see that I can now supply when the companies eventually train all these personnel, and they have camps for their employees. I can supply my eggs, I can supply my goods. So it makes things
and
very
at one
simple.
point a very significant figure at Makerere University during their time.
Yes, and now he's of course also working with the Private Sector Foundation, organizing the private sector, inspiring private sector led growth. So he's a very, very great person I admire. And of course he has also raised us a son now in the profession by the names of Ellison Karuhanga the son, who is also is now advocating for mission-based charges, looking to leadership at the Duty Service Commission. And of course, the leadership style of the persons whose names they have been mentioning here several has made it very difficult for us to have, appointments. People resume offices, at that commission. But I would really cheat the Honorable Justice Stephen Mobiru if I did not mention him. He's the darling of the profession. He's one person who is very, very strict, but also you will meet him with his mercy will meet you when you most need it. I've looked to him as a mentor for a very long time. I remember when he was assistant head of the bar, I would visit him for career guidance. So I find him also someone that I look to very much.
Interesting. Thank you, gentlemen. If time I could allow, would also get your international figures, but may not allow. Time may not allow. But so many messages when we opened for that request for those that were celebrating the profession. So many messages. But maybe I cannot fail to mention a few. Amon, thank you for this. We can celebrate people like Professor Kanyeihamba, Ejihugu, David Mpanga, Apollo Nelson Makubia, Philip Kalugaba, Andre Chibuya, Balondemo David, Jemima Jehopio, and so very many others. And also someone has given us a list of judges that took really a bold stand and gave their edicts even when society expected a different judgment. Benedicto Chuanuka, Justice Lian Tibatemwa Elukuba, I will not read that. Justice Testa Chisache, Justice Kenneth Kakulu, Justices of Kweyelo, Justice Alice Komuhangi, who has just given her bold on Okello Christopher Oyum's case, and so many others I may not have time to read, but people are giving their role models, especially when we talk about legal leadership in Uganda. I want to thank you, dear listener, for being part of us, and also I want to take this very opportunity to thank the panelists that we have in our studios that really spared time and to come through and educate the people of Uganda. Ojabil Augustine always sparing time on his busy weekend, even when he has a team to coach, and also preparing for a game which we don't know how the results will be. Hope next Saturday you will be fair enough to tell us the results.
We are taking the trophy.
Okay, but also Council Samuel Oyetre, coming from Oyetre Advocates, and also Alho Brian from Alho Foundation for sparing time to come through and educate the people of Uganda on UBC Ground Zero 5, live on 5 radio stations that covered this program, and always on YouTube. You can always put UBC Ground Zero and you follow the conversation. The repeat of this program is on Sunday tomorrow on UBC Radio 98.0 FM and also on Voice of Bondobujo on Monday, same time. Thanks for the team that I worked with. Make sure that this program reaches to you. For God and my country, Ampaire Amon of Buteega. Allow me now to sign out.
That was Ground Zero, a production